You're listening to The Art of Business with Jake Lee and Brian Aerosol. And we're back with The Art of Business. I'm Jake Lee.
Brian Aerosol.
And this is episode 2 with two of our great friends and amazing artists. We have
Katrina Catizone.
And Epyon 5.
In this episode, we're going to tackle a few things. These two artists, Katrina Catizone and Epyon 5, are both convention artists that travel around the Midwest, East Coast, and West Coast from all sorts of conventions, from horror conventions to Wizard Worlds to even the so-called lower grade conventions. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. We're great.
Good.
Today? Tonight.
Tonight? Yeah,
it's 11 o'clock.
We are recording at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's all right. We're going to have a good night.
Yeah.
We got coffee.
Yeah.
We got some
We
beers.
have our drinks.
We have drinks.
A wine.
We got fun times. So you guys are actually here in Indianapolis because of
Indie PopCon.
Indie PopCon. Have you guys done it before?
Yes. We did the very first Indie PopCon, which I think was 3 or 4 years ago.
I think this is year 4.
Year 4? Okay.
Yeah.
We were at the first one.
We all 3 were there.
Actually,
All 4.
That's how we met.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
You were there too.
In my script, it says this is how we met.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is how we met.
Yeah.
You weren't there. She was there too.
I think, yeah.
I didn't
You were
meet her
there?
then.
Say hi.
I never met.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, I think that's how we met.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I think the whole reason we even did that con, because I think we just did the Indianapolis Comic-Con,
Yes.
which was also their first year that year, and that was a huge convention. Like, it was amazing for us. So we decided, there's another Indiana convention. Should we do it? And then I saw that Joel Hodgson was one of the guests. So I was like, if Joel's good, we have to do it because of Joel. That was really it for me. So
You were into it. So you guys are here. You guys did the first day, okay? But you guys have done this. You've done multiple conventions. What kind of conventions have you done this year?
Let's see.
It's a long
they
question.
kind of blend together.
They blend together?
What kind of ones have we done?
On average, how many do you do?
Yeah.
Like,
Probably
in a
2
month.
a month.
Yeah.
2 to
Yeah.
3 a month.
yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. 2,
There's
2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
Like a day, like a 1 day kind of show. I'll
Yeah.
count that as a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you guys are from Champaign, Illinois. So,
Yes.
like, Midwest area, kind of easy to go around from different states to states. What's the farthest convention you guys have done?
The farthest at this point would be Florida, MegaCon.
Or was it the Rocky Horror Convention in
Oh,
Providence?
Providence. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Either way, I don't know. They're both, yeah.
They're pretty
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
I think technically the Florida may have been farther, but the drive time to Providence because of all the traffic took longer.
We split that one up.
Yeah.
Providence is awesome.
It is a very nice town, but the
Yeah.
drive is terrible. To drive from Illinois, I mean, it was like 12 hours to get to Jersey, and then I think from there it was like 5.
Yeah, to get to Providence.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Yes, and the Florida was what?
16, I think.
Jeez.
And that's all in one
Good
one
neck.
shot, so.
Do you do a lot of sleeping at rest stops?
We haven't done that yet.
Really?
We have, though, coming back from conventions is a little
Yeah.
harder because we're really tired and
Right.
exhausted. So coming back from, I think it was New Orleans, we ended up stopping at a hotel, like in the middle of the night.
I just take a 2-hour nap at a rest stop and then I'm good to go.
We figured if as long as we made a little bit of money at the convention, a little luxury, we deserve a little bit of luxury.
Fruits of your labor.
Yes.
So you might be listening to this podcast and be like, I know that these two artists somehow, you might have seen them on the internet, but how do you guys explain, a little bit about yourselves, a little history on like your art and how you got where you are right now? So let's start with Katrina. Ladies first.
All right. Let's see, the history of my art.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've always been an artistically inclined person.
Were you self-taught?
I would say mostly. I did go to art school for, well, I completed 1 semester of art school, but yeah, I would say I'm about 80% self-taught. So, but yeah, I'm trained as an oil painter. I mean, that 1 semester of art school, I learned a lot about oil painting, let me tell you.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Parkland College. It's a community college in Champaign.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, from what I've seen, you with the work you have today, it's a lot of evolves around pop culture, and we'll get back into it later down the podcast where I've shown your guys' artwork when I used to run the Attic Gallery. But when you do your gallery stuff, Katrina, you do a lot more conceptual stuff, a lot of portraits. I saw a lot of still lifes.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of the oil painting. Like, what were those subject matters?
Similar subjects.
Subjects. So you're always into pop culture and portraits and
portraits, people,
portraits.
faces, some still life stuff. Yeah.
So how long have you been doing the art?
Since I came out of the womb. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
So a good 39 years-ish or so.
Right.
You know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
With the transition to charcoal, what made you change from oil to charcoal?
Charcoal doesn't need any drying time. So it's more practical for a convention lifestyle, I guess. I don't have to wait extra days for paint to dry. I can just draw and then draw some more, and then it's done. So that's nice. So.
And it stands out because nobody at conventions does
Not at all.
charcoal.
That's true.
Really, rarely.
Not too many people like to mess with it because it's a pain.
Right.
It can be a pain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shading.
It's unwieldy. The shading. Yes.
Yeah.
And at the convention, I mean, all your stuff is in frames. You know, you still have that fine art aspect where you preserve it, you treat it like it's, like it would be in a gallery.
Yeah, I like to do that for a couple of reasons. To reflect my fine art training, my oil painting training, and then also I like to show people what they can do with some of my artwork. If they, buy a print, they can put it in a frame and
Absolutely.
Schnazz it up. It looks nice in a frame. So yeah.
All right, let's get on to this guy over here.
I forgot the question already.
Man, all right. So basically, is
Your secret origin.
secret
okay.
origin.
An origin
This
story.
one I know off the top of my head. I'd not actually heard yours before.
We'll get deeper.
Some deep cuts,
Yeah.
B-sides. Like Katrina, I was always drawing, painting from as early as ever. Actually, I still have drawings that I did when my mom has them too, drawings I did of like C-3PO and R2-D2 when I was 3. So I've always been drawing, always been painting.
Yeah.
Self-taught, but I did go to art school. I did get my BA in fine arts because at that time you were supposed to go to college to get your degree. But it doesn't really matter anymore.
You went in? Did you? Was it straight fine arts, drawing and painting?
Yeah, my principal focus was oil painting. So just like Katrina, like I was trained Renaissance style realism artist, and that was really my love and passion. And I was kind of a snob though back then. Like I didn't
What's
care.
new?
I didn't care. I didn't care for Andy Warhol. You're a dick.
Do you still care for... I don't care for Andy Warhol.
No, you don't. I do now, but there's reasons for that.
There's
involve...
stuff to respect
I
about.
respect him for the art of business.
Okay,
Yeah.
see?
Yeah.
That is a bi-weekly podcast on iTunes and all the other platforms soon.
You're such a pro. So yeah, I was really into oil painting, and but like she says, there's so much effort that goes into it that actually when I graduated college and entered the real world, I was like, fuck this, man. I can't do it. You couldn't.
I know.
And so really I kind of stopped painting for a while, and eventually picked it back up. But again, still oil painting is, like I love like the old guys, Caravaggio, all the old Italian dead guys. And but there's just so much work with it. I ended up hanging out with some guys who were doing some basic street art. There was a guy named Bearhead who's from the Northwest Indiana region. He was doing like simple 1-color, 2-color stencils. And I thought, man, that looks really cool. I liked it. I liked the visual aspects of it. It had the chiaroscuro that I loved, and all the old paintings, the light and the dark. And so, chiaroscuro.
How about you? For maybe some younger viewers or listeners, describe
Chiaroscuro?
Yeah, describe chiaroscuro.
It is a technique that was pioneered by one of those old dead guys by the name of Caravaggio, who is my favorite painter. I always tell people, just Google him, look him up, and you'll see exactly what he did. It's basically, he would do realistic paintings of religious scenes. And in real life, the funny thing, the irony, I guess, in all this is like he was a total asshole, total bad boy. Like he did
Nothing's different between you and him, then.
No. He gave no shits about religion, but he, that's where all the money was at the time. Yeah. In his paintings, though, he would have just areas of just straight up black, extreme black,
Yeah.
and then extreme white light, and yet it would still look realistic.
A high contrast.
Yes, very high contrast. And stencil work basically is nothing but contrast. So I saw that and I was like, man, I really want to try that. So took one of my oil paintings that I did of a toy soldier and made my first stencil, which was just a basic 2-color stencil. And I was like instantly hooked. And then I just started trying to push the boundaries of stencil painting, so to speak, I guess.
And your more fine art aspects has been on canvas.
Yeah.
Has it always been on canvas?
I like canvas. I mean, that's like the old traditional stuff, and I do like traditional ways, personally. Like, I actually loved building stretchers myself. I used to build them from scratch, and then I'd go buy the canvas, and then I'd stretch the canvas, then I'd get rabbit skin glue, and I would, make the canvas as tight as I could. So I was taught to make a painting from start to finish, like, from A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you don't have to do that because you can just go to Michael's and buy a canvas. So that's what I
Right.
do. But I like the tactile feeling of canvas and painting on it.
So how long have you been doing that for?
The
Stencil
stencil
painting.
work?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe 6 years, I think, at this point.
And how long have you guys been doing the convention life?
Oh, man.
He started his first
C2E2,
convention
right?
was C2E2
You
in
started-
Chicago.
you
It was
started-
about 5 years ago.
5 years ago, your first convention was C2E2.
You
The
went
biggest
big.
Midwest
Yeah.
convention.
That's
I-
insane.
I had no idea what I was doing either because I'd gone to a few Comic-Cons years ago, like a Wizard World, but
When Wizard World meant something.
when Wizard World was the only
Yeah.
convention, yeah.
Those magazines rocked.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did, yeah. But I didn't know anything about Artist Alley. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything. All I knew is, okay, you can get an Artist Alley booth for X amount of dollars, show my artwork, maybe sell some artwork. But I knew that I was going to have to get some prints made. And I don't actually know how it happened. I submitted an app for C2E2, ended up getting accepted. So yeah, my first convention was like a really big show.
So
what were the tables have been like
How much
6
were
years
they?
ago? Yeah.
I don't know what C2E2 tables are now. I know the New York Comic-Con tables are like 500, I
Yeah.
think. So they would have maybe like 300 or so back then.
Okay.
400.
So when you did C2E2, your first convention there,
Yeah.
I mean, this is your virgin pop, basically, okay?
And the amount of people that are there and the people that come up to your booth and seeing your stuff, then right off the bat, did you think this is what every convention's like?
I had hoped every convention would be like that. It was pretty overwhelming because, I mean, C2E2 is big. There was a lot of people. And there wasn't really any stencil art at that time that I saw, at least. A lot of it was some traditional comic artwork. And then I started seeing a lot of, there was some digital artwork. So I had a lot of people that came up to the booth that liked what I was doing because they thought that it stood out and looked different than a lot of the other artists and vendors. So I thought, oh, this is great. I mean, yeah, every convention is going to be like this. It'll be awesome. And for the most part, they are. But there have been a few stinkers that have just been pretty bad.
When did you jump on board, Katrina?
Well, initially, I was just there to kind of help out at the conventions and stuff. And I thought about, this would be fun to, have some of my artwork here too. But I didn't want to steal his thunder, I didn't want to
You did, Katrina. You did.
Well,
She sells more prints than I do, so that's true.
our relationship was very new, so I didn't want to overstep any bounds or anything like that. But we ended up getting we ended up doing Artist Alley at New York Comic Con that year, the first year.
So you
but
just
then
went
the
big
next year,
every-
Yeah, C2E2 right to New York.
yeah. But he had an Artist Alley table in New York, and it was just
Okay.
him still. But by the next year, we got an exhibitor booth
Yeah.
at New York Comic Con, and it was a big booth. And
10 by 10
there
by
was
10, yeah.
there
Is
was
that standard? I'm pretty ignorant on this. Is that
Sure.
standard?
10
like
by
a-
10.
Yeah, an exhibitor booth, 10 by 10.
Usually,
Yeah.
yeah, especially for like big cons.
Yeah.
Big
Like
con.
the small dirt cons, you can just get like a table.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 6
6
foot,
foot, sometimes
yeah.
8 foot if you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Horror Hound's weird. They do like
I think they do
it's like
6 foot.
6x3 or something.
know.
Like they
Yeah.
pack you in at
Yeah.
Horror Hound.
So yeah, so at the at this New York Comic Con this year when we had the the exhibitor booth, there was some concern that there would not be enough artwork to fill up the entire space. So the people in our group were like, "Hey, you want to put some stuff in there?" And I was like, "Do I?" So I went nuts and made a bunch of artwork, and then I got addicted to it. I guess I got hooked, and then ever since then.
So I'm looking at some photos right now on the interweb.
It's true. He's been going through.
You're doing like double duty.
He's been going through
interviewing
Facebook this
and
entire time.
Googling. Oh, fuck.
So Epyon 5,
Yeah.
Katrina, when you guys started right off the bat these huge conventions that I
still haven't done any of these giant conventions.
what
I've been doing this more than a presidential term.
what were you guys' subject matters? I mean, you guys, both of your guys' aesthetic and style, kind of, and like almost like what you guys are making your work off of, have grown, and not just maybe comic books, but in movies and television and a mash of music. When you guys started off doing these conventions, what were you guys making?
Let's see. I think I still tackle the same subject matter that I started working with back when I first started.
Yeah.
So many years. It was only a couple years ago.
Right, but it feels like it's so long ago. 'Cause
Yes.
so many conventions.
I think some of my first pieces were I did a Catwoman oil painting, which I still sell prints of that, and one of my first drawings was the Christopher Walken portrait.
Really?
Yeah, that was one.
That's
of
been
them.
around for.
Yeah, it has. It's one of my favorites.
Do you look at the stuff you did then and be like, man, if I did it now, it could be so much better? Because I don't carry any of my stuff I did from like the first few years anymore.
I guess I have gotten to a point with my skills where I feel like I don't know if I can get any better technically, because as long as I have a good reference to look at when I draw,
Sure.
then I'm pretty confident that the result will be, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
So it's really all about like having something good to look at when I draw, a good high res photo or whatever.
Because I suck at drawing.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You improve very quickly. Well, I don't know. That's what I tell aspiring artists. Like, practice, 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 because you will be surprised at how quickly your skills improve.
Yeah.
But I guess at some point you'll kind of plateau, and then where else can you go? You can just start doing some real crazy stuff. I don't know.
You just start adding different mediums in. That's
Yeah.
usually what I do.
Yeah.
Or change it up a little bit somehow.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I actually feel different than you do about that, because I look at some of the older stuff I did. Like, I was actually looking at an old Bill Murray Lost in Translation piece I did years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so I opened up the file, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, man, that's pretty simple compared to some of the stuff that I'm doing now. It's like, so if I had made that piece now, I think it would look much different. It would be more detailed, because some of the newer stuff that I'm doing is getting...
Yeah, I think with your medium, the more you've done it, like the more tricks you've taught yourself, where you're not afraid to make smaller and smaller cuts and finer details and stuff. I mean, I can sharpen a charcoal pencil down to a pretty, fine point, but that's all I have to do. So.
I feel the same with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed you that Wonder Woman piece I was I was working on, and you were like, you're going to make all those cuts? And I was like,
yeah.
I feel like
That's
as
awesome.
an artist, as your process continues to grow, you put more hardship into it and maybe more time and more detail into it.
Sorry.
Or you streamline it.
You said time, and I was like, yeah. The whole, it's kind of funny. I switched to the stencils because of time. Like Katrina said, like doing oil paintings, you can't really make a living at conventions doing oil paintings and doing like 2 cons a month. When are you gonna have time to do the oil painting? So initially, some of my stencils I could do in a day or two, and now I'm to the point where it can take me 2 weeks to cut the stencils just for one piece.
Yeah.
So it's like now it's starting to take up a little too much time. So it makes me laugh. I'm like, fuck that time.
Are you thinking about going back? Like,
I don't think I can. I really don't think I can. I don't think I'd be happy.
yeah,
I really do like trying to see how far I can take this.
yeah.
As far as getting detail with stencils, because there's a lot of guys, and this gets into how I actually make the stencil work. And the
we'll
designs.
get there.
Oh, you'll get there.
We'll get there.
I'll save
Don't
that.
you worry.
I'll save that for later. It's fine.
Yeah, it blows my fucking mind. I have a side story I don't think I ever told you.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh,
And this is a side story I wanted to add into this podcast.
okay. We haven't talked about this.
No.
Changing things up.
Yes. This.
Are you going off script?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, he's off book.
Yeah. I saw your work way before I met you at Indie.
Oh, okay.
I did too.
We might have had the same similarity. I saw you on Tumblr, probably
Yeah,
when
me too.
I was in college, and I was influenced street art. I did weed pasting and stenciling myself, but not that intricate and not that to a fine art like you used. Chinese newsprint. We'll get into this.
I think at that point I was doing a lot of the gallery shows too at Spoke Art.
Yeah.
And, okay. Yeah.
And I'll say this, and maybe this will be a laughter, a very quiet, awkward phase. Two things I saw when I saw your work went right off the bat, and this was the Halloween masks. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let me describe it. Was that you did a series of these Halloween vacuum sealed masks with Chinese star rising in the background.
Yeah.
So I saw these on Tumblr. God, I want to say maybe 2010, maybe? Is that around the same?
I guess, I don't know. Like I said, at this point, time is irrelevant.
Around 2010. And the two things I saw was, this is something different I've never seen. It's something I really like. And then it also had a self-challenging aspect to it. It was like, why the fuck am I not doing this? Like, and not only that, it gave me that kind of, this is even before I met you. It gave me this thing where I saw you were doing like these shows in Chicago, and you were doing like, I started following you.
Yeah.
Ghostly.
Okay.
And,
Sure.
And I was like, it kind of gave me a little bit of hope. Like, where I was like, this art is accepted in a mainstream gallery. This is, pop culture that basically I don't have to, make a comic book to make art based on comics or pop culture. Like, I can be myself and
just paint whatever the fuck you like.
You can be who you want to be.
Yeah. We're gonna go, aren't we? It's all circling back.
It's a Rocky Horror reference.
Yes.
Fuck that.
But, and I really liked it. And then it was funny was we met PopCon that same time, right? No, we met ITCE.
Yeah.
So
but I saw your stuff at PopCon.
I did not see your stuff. I will say that. I saw your stuff at ITCE.
Yeah.
Second year. I met you at Indie PopCon.
Yeah.
4 years ago. It took.
I also met you at Indie PopCon 4 years ago.
It took me
Yeah.
quite some time to get the guts to go to your booth.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Really?
I don't mean to laugh at that. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you.
So
I am laughing, but it's...
Oh.
At the situation.
But no.
Yeah.
No. So once I got to your booth, because it was like, I followed this dude on Tumblr back in the day, and like I would look at his, and this was even before, I think this was pre-Instagram, like
Yeah.
So I'm like, you had to hunt for stuff. It just didn't fly in your face every 30 seconds.
I don't even think I had the Facebook fan page or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
So.
just the Tumblr probably at that point.
So when I started
Reddit as well.
Oh yeah, I used to post on Reddit. I don't do that anymore because
Yeah.
Reddit's like that's too much work.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
So when I went to your booth, the first thing I remember, was that setup. That's from even when you started
The booth setup.
the booth setup, and we'll get down in the line. But it amazed me because there was a lot of, just what would you say, bag and board, and like the plastic portfolio books on the table, and yours was kind of like you turned into a mini gallery behind you.
Oh yeah.
And then I look next to you, and there's Katrina, and you guys kind of had floated over, and you kind of do these 2-for-1 and all these, you kind of work as a team.
Yeah.
And that's how I met you.
Yes.
I then realized, I was like, oh, they're together, they do shows together, this is amazing, this is super cool. And then I introduced myself to you guys, and then I think the following year, I remember a time, and I'll clearly remember this, it was Indiana Comic Con the following year.
Yeah.
And you come over and you're like, hey man, it was nice seeing you and stuff. And you're sitting down, you're talking to me, and like I'm just like, holy fuck, I'm kind of sweating. Anxiety's rising. Like, why is this dude talking to me? And that's when I pitched you. I kind of have this gallery.
Oh yeah.
And I remember this because I think it was the owner or some grade guy from the comic book grading just comes over and buys one of my paintings, like original behind me, and you're just like, you just sold one of your big things, and I'm just like, I just sold one of my big things. And I'm like, you need to be around more often because I'm hiding behind the wall, and you're the one with your arms flinging around and freaking Fonzie hairdo, and
You got a Fonzie hairdo. Yeah.
and it was very nice. Like, it was not what I expected. Like, I thought maybe there was going to be this higher up power, but you both are really great people.
Total dick. This guy.
Just a completely handsome asshole.
Asshole.
And like, I mean, me and Brian have talked about it. Personally, it's like, you inspired, Epyon 5 has inspired you
Yeah.
doing stencils. He's one of your biggest inspirations.
It's true.
See, it's funny. Damn, you
Because here's the thing. Similar thing, though, those masks,
Yeah.
which I own that Batman one.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
I remember. Yeah, you bought.
Yeah, I have that Batman.
You own that Batman?
I bought
Yeah.
that Batman one. Yeah, but I guess we kind of started doing stencils around the same time because I'm like 5 years in. You're 6 to stencils, so around the same time. But I was big on Reddit at the time, so I saw your Reddit posts coming in, and then I found the Tumblr. And the guy that I was painting with at the time, we would text each other when a new Epyon 5 was posted to Reddit.
Okay.
Um,
So the reason I keep laughing is like I'm not making that's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's just, but you guys know me now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just your average
Just a
asshole
guy.
with
Yeah.
my friends. That's why it's. Although you did point out something about like the booth setup, like. There's so many things at conventions that it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all the bags, it's the board, it's the digital art, it's the digital swipers.
The portfolio.
And Katrina pointed out, like, our booth setup is kind of meant to be like its own little gallery to invite people in so they can see that, hey,
And she's the mastermind behind setting that up sometimes.
He's the face man. I'm the brain.
Good team right there. Real good team. Man, that's fascinating.
Actually, when you came over to my booth at Indie PopCon, same thing as him. I was super nervous and sweaty palms.
Oh,
Jesus.
this guy.
But it meant a lot because
Okay.
one, it meant a lot that you said, "Hey, I'll check your booth out later," and then you came and checked it out. And I don't think I couldn't talk properly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You guys. He was just all. I remember that convention too because he was like, oh my god. Jake and Brian and it's so cool that he does on the record. Yeah, he was all about you guys.
Weird.
Yeah,
You
it was
spray painting the records, and your printmaking skills, your silk screening, which obviously I think you have seen that this is all reciprocal and it goes around.
It's very
because now
symbiotic,
you are
yeah.
teaching me
Yeah.
bromance.
the aspects of printmaking.
We're gonna get her on board soon. Too.
I know, yeah.
The print. Yeah, I want to know that.
We will. We will down the
Get on
road.
it.
So let's get into some meat. I mean, you guys are full-time artists, okay? This is sometimes to people a dream, okay? You guys work, breathe, art.
Yeah.
You guys,
We have no crappy day jobs.
no day jobs. I mean, like, your art is what finances your living.
Yeah. Quote unquote living.
Yeah,
Now,
There's some truth to that laugh.
I know.
but there's a thing to this. Like, when you get out of college or get out of high school and you say, I'm an artist, I want to make a living off of this. That's a huge leap.
Yeah.
I still can't break that.
Can I tell you a quote that my painting professor told us?
Yes.
So I graduated in '99. That's when I got my bachelor's. So this was way before Facebook, Instagram, any of this.
Pre-Y2K.
Yeah, this was.
You were dealing with Y2K in the
That's
the
true.
looming.
Yeah, we
They
were
were worrying about that.
stockpiling jars of water. My painting professor said. Right before we graduated, not at the beginning of our artistic program, but
Yeah.
right before we
Well, let's
graduated.
just keep you in.
Yeah, he says, okay, just to let you folks know, you'll have a better chance of being a pro baseball player than ever making a living off your art. And honestly, at the time, I think that was really true. Because there was no social media to share anything. It was literally you
can't connect to anybody.
You couldn't connect, and you can only take your art as far as you were willing to drive.
Yeah.
This is like, to me, this is something I always dreamed of when I was even in high school, as being a full-time artist. Like, I wanted to live and breathe being an artist. I mean, I think we're all here, we're all creative, we're all artists, but to take that step, I mean, it's not just saying, I'm just going to do it. You really have to plan and stick.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Well, to interject here, my experience with that, I was always aware that the odds were stacked against making a living that way. So I kind of resisted that, and I never thought I'd ever be able to make a living as an artist. And I'm still surprised that I'm doing that now, and I'm just waiting for it to, like, just blow up or I don't know. I don't trust none of this.
We were talking about this last time of, like, I'm constantly afraid that someone's going to find out that I'm a fraud.
The imposter
Like,
syndrome.
I shouldn't
There's a
be.
name for that.
People shouldn't be giving me money for this.
Yeah.
Because I just do shit in my garage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you look at the history books, you know, I was huge into, I say the 1940s to the 1980s. It was like from Impressionism to pop art to almost like when contemporary started to come onto the mainstream. And you see these artists, and I always picture it like button up, slacks to the belly button, cigarette in mouth, and you look behind them and you just see these. They have a studio. It's in Manhattan. It's tons of canvas stacked. It's these.
Andy Warhol's factory.
It's the factory, but I mean,
I think you just described Jim Steranko
yeah,
today.
yeah. Like, I mean, Jasper Johns,
Yeah.
you know, Warhol, Robert Rauschenberg. I'll always bring him up at every podcast. Picasso, like. Just that, and you know, there's now like I'm making my stuff in a 10 by 12 basement, you know, like,
Yeah.
but I'm happy with it, and I really do enjoy it, and it's my space, and I feel comfortable making that work, you know. And it's funny how with technology evolving, you can get out there so easily. You don't need like the big spaces and the assistants, even though assistant would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
You know, but the one reason I talked to Brian about this months ago to make this podcast was to make listeners understand, be motivated, but also understand it takes work.
Yeah.
But it's doable.
It is doable.
It is.
But
Yeah.
it takes work. And I feel like, and that's why it's called the art of business, is because you have to be sometimes more a business person than an artist.
Yeah.
Like, you can be making that work a couple days a week, but those other days, it's business.
What's the term? Pragmatic? Is that what you have to be pragmatic about this?
Yeah.
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 And realistic. Yeah, I mean, you gotta be realistic about all of it. It's
I'm bad at that.
making lofty goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Before most shows, I've got a list of things that I want to make,
Yeah.
which is usually like 7 pieces. And I usually make about 2
Okay.
before the
Yeah.
show shows up.
I feel the same way as you. I feel
No.
compelled to make as much as I possibly can for a show. But I usually make it, but that's because, like you had pointed out, Jake, the reality of it is like it's literally 12 hours a day.
12 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Every single day.
You gotta be disciplined.
Yes.
Self-discipline.
Self-discipline?
Self-discipline.
Yes.
Is
The
very...
nice thing about the 12 hours, though, is that it can be like 3 in the afternoon
Yeah.
to 3 in the morning.
Make your own schedule.
It's true.
That's nice.
When did you guys take that step?
I remember at 12.
Yeah. I don't. So you
The when we took the step to make this
Full-time?
a full-time living thing. Okay, it was when we did Indiana Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
The first one.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because
Which was like gangbusters, because they had some weird staffing and sizing
Yeah.
issues with it.
They had
it
a lot.
was a perfect storm. It
Yeah,
worked out
it was
well.
packed.
Yeah.
It was packed. They
They wouldn't let people in.
there were
They
people that
reached
could not
maximum
get,
fire
yeah,
code.
I didn't
Yeah.
get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed up too. I couldn't get in the
get
door either.
At that convention, we were so busy, and it was the first convention that we did since the very first one I did, which was in New York, when they were like, "We need someone to help fill up space."
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, "All right, I'm all in this," and I just made. I mean, I planned my half of the booth. You know, I made as much stuff as I could. I got nice quality prints made and all that. And then our booth looked, I think it pretty much looked how it looks today. That was the blueprint.
You created that blueprint, that brand.
Yeah. So it was everything I wanted it to be. I was very happy with all of that. And we were so busy. And we made a nice amount of money. So I was like, I've never seen this much cash in my life.
We couldn't close the cash box.
Yeah, the cash box did not show.
That's a good fucking day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And every day, every day of that convention was like that, and it was great. And I remember we have pictures. We stayed at the Motel 6, because we were frugal, and we took all the cash we made and poured it onto the bed, and we took pictures of ourselves rolling around in it.
I've done this on a good day.
We were so proud of ourselves, and
Yeah.
we couldn't believe that such things were possible. And it was like, we could just do this.
Yeah, we could
could
pay
do
bills.
this twice a month, and this would
And
pay for everything.
Invest it into future cons and have some money left over.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
This beats a really crappy minimum wage job, where you get treated like garbage.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But
having a job.
you're not just rolling around in that cash on that bed, because I've done this.
Yeah,
I've done that.
you have to then take that cash. It was nice to roll around it, but now you must take it, put it back in the box, and then you have to, pay your bills, invest in the next convention.
Invest.
Set aside X amount.
Yes. Worry about your hotel, your gas,
those
all these
expenses.
expenses,
A budget.
And I didn't really,
Yeah.
I didn't really think about all that. I mean, I knew that all that stuff existed once we actually started planning conventions and realizing, oh my god.
So then it hit. So you didn't at the first. It seems like when you guys first did your cons, you just did them to do them, get some extra cash. When you guys took that step that says, we're doing it. Yes, we're doing it. What's the fuck is this in your finger?
At those first cons, did you do what I did at your first cons, and you just spent most of your money on shit at the con?
I don't think
Not
we did.
really, no.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
because
were
I came
just
across
so-
some pretty dope
We were
Adam
broke.
West action figures.
We were so broke. We were like, oh my god, no ramen tonight.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing was after every con, we would stop someplace nice and just get a big meal somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, we're getting.
Yeah, we would get an appetizer. We would get the Thai iced tea and not just the ice water. I mean, that's luxury right there.
That's the highlight.
Yeah, that's how you know.
So when you guys took that step and became full-time artists, then you're like, okay, now we need to start planning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got to actually come up with a business plan, think of expenses.
Yeah.
How much will this cost? How much will that cost? How much we need to make? I mean, you literally had to start scheduling months out.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning, and I'm glad that Epyon 5 here, that's his job.
Yeah.
I let him, he does all the research. He's really good at doing all this research.
Well, we compare and contrast.
Yeah, it's true. I'll send
it's-
you what cons I find.
Yeah,
Do the same.
and that's a nice thing about doing a lot of conventions is you meet a lot of other artists, and then you can share information. And from what I have gathered in my experience, artists want their artist friends to succeed at this. It's all it's not like a cutthroat competition.
What
thing.
is that saying where all together we rise high? It's an old, you know what I'm saying?
I have no idea, but I'm sure it is
sounds
something.
good to me. Yeah.
It is, you're gonna Google it.
Later.
The planning aspect though, and at first actually it was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie, because
Doesn't it kind of take you back to when you were a musician and you had to plan a little mini tour?
a little bit.
Yeah.
And the best part, but the funny thing is though, this actually gets into the evolution of Comic-Cons over the past few years. But when we decided to do this full time, there was a lot of planning involved. I would have to Google, see what conventions are going to be within driving distance, how much does the convention cost, and it was pretty easy to book them back then too. I could find a con that was just a couple months away and just buy a booth.
Yeah.
So you're telling me now it's changed.
It has changed. At least I think it's changed, and it's because I think comic cons are it's like the housing market. There's just more and more Comic Cons, and everybody wants to be a part of it.
It ebbs and it flows.
Yeah.
Buyer's market.
So now
seller's market.
you got mothers who are buying booths because they want to get in on the Comic Con action. So now
I think Etsy did that.
Etsy.
I think Etsy affected that in a big way. Because everybody could open up a shop
Yeah.
and they'd be like, well, fuck,
I'll
I'll take
get
it
a
to
booth.
the... Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like C2E2, I don't get into the artist alley at C2E2 anymore. I can't. I don't
Too
know.
many people.
It's too many people. One of the times I walked through C2E2, I saw a person in the artist alley who was selling finger puppets.
And you just held your hand.
And I was
They were,
head in
they were
shame.
felt finger puppets.
made it felt with googly eyes. Not
Yeah.
good at all. And then there was a fortune teller.
That is your opinion.
Yes, yeah. But now you've got to find conventions, and like we did the Lexington Comic Con recently, but we had to book that a year in advance, which is scary because you don't know if all those guests that they have in line are still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's a gamble.
It is. Yeah.
Do you look at the guests? Does that make you choose if you want to
Yes.
join a convention or not?
Yeah.
You like them guests?
Well, it's more complicated than that. I mean, it's nice
There's a
to see
science to
celebrities you actually like, you know. Like, for example, when Jason Momoa stopped by and said hello to me, that was a very nice, pleasant day in my life. Shh. And
You talk about Charlie Cox?
Yeah, what about Charlie
don't worry
Cox?
about
What about
that.
Mr. Daredevil?
Let's not worry about
I
that.
bet you he will listen. He'd love to hear it.
Oh, okay.
That's all he
Well,
can do
he's
because
a
he's
very
blind.
nice.
Christ, Brian.
He's British, you know.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He
British.
just plays a blind guy.
Yeah.
He's not really blind.
And he's not blind.
No. He's really good at pretending.
He's very huggable
Yeah.
and pinchable. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Jesus Christ, is going off topic.
No. This is right on topic.
But anyway, yeah, the guests, you know, I mean, it's always nice to go to a convention that has celebrities that you actually like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, those are the people that inspire the work and all that stuff. But also, you can look at like, oh, well, if this guest is going to be a big draw, then it's going to be, you know, lucrative for us to be there too, because let's say we have some artwork that complements whatever role the celebrity plays on TV or in movies or whatever. Or we might sell some extra stuff because people like to have the celebrities sign stuff.
I think that one we did a Wizard World in St. Louis that was like that was a great example of that because they had the two big guests were David Tennant and Matt Smith.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both have we both have Doctor Who artwork.
yeah.
Like she did a very awesome David Tennant charcoal drawing, and then I did a stencil portrait of David Tennant and Matt Smith. And that weekend, yeah, there were a lot of people
And
that
a
saw
Dalek.
that. Oh yeah, and a Dalek, yes. And we do specials. Like if you buy 2 prints, you get 1 free. You buy a Doctor, you get a free Dalek print. So we sold a lot of Doctor Who artwork that weekend.
You taught me that method, and that method helped me out in some tight situations.
The buy two
Took some
get
sales
deals.
tactics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so for anyone who's ever interested in doing conventions, art fairs, or anything, people like to hear them deals.
Yeah,
They love free
dem
stuff.
Yeah.
deals.
That's it.
It's
Yes.
perfect that the two of you guys have
Yes.
such different styles that
Yeah.
you can do the buy two get one
Yeah.
free.
Mix and match.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
It was a smart business plan on your guys' behalf because I've observed you guys from being just a patron in a convention and seeing you guys present yourself at your booth and talking about, well, you like Doctor Who, I have this one, Katrina has this one. If you buy these two, anything on this,
Yeah.
You get a free dollar.
you get a free one.
You know, there's an old sales story, sales saying. Oh, and here's another thing of that. It works for us as far as like in the comic scene. We both had jobs in retail.
I was just gonna get to
Yeah.
that. Epyon,
But
thanks for ruining it.
There's a story though which I had read, which is about sales, and it says basically you're trying to sell a $100 wrench. Nobody wants to buy the fucking $100
You
wrench.
fucking told me this.
Yes, but
I
if
haven't
you,
heard this, though.
but if you, and this, here's the funny thing about the psyche of selling and all this. Yeah, this $100 wrench, nobody wants to buy it. But you say, I'll tell you what though, you buy this $100 wrench, you get this screwdriver to go with it for free. Now the funny thing is, this screwdriver only costs $1, but the person doesn't know that. But they hear the word free, I get something free. All of a sudden, they're willing to spend that $100. It's a weird. That's how it works in sales. Is if they think they're getting something for free, even if it doesn't cost you anything, they're more likely to spend more money then. And that works out a lot for us. Like, there'll be people looking at our prints, like, I like that. And then they say, well, I'll tell you what, you buy 2, you get a third one free, and you can pick one of hers or one of mine. And they're like, oh, a free one?
I think this, we didn't do that right away, but we started doing it because we noticed that when people would come to the booth, they would look at my stuff and they would look at his stuff and they'd be like, oh, I like your stuff. Oh, I like his stuff too. I can't decide. What if you had both? So, yeah. So you make it worth their while to get what they want. And then they're very happy. And hey,
and
then I'm happy.
And they come back,
Right.
too. They come back
They
the
do
next
come
year.
back, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I've been at you guys' booth, and I've seen reoccurring patrons
Yeah.
that enjoy both of you guys' work, and I feel like they go to the next level at times. It's like, I bought some prints. Boom, next, they buy a head.
Yeah.
I think that happened today.
Yeah, it did happen
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
A lady bought one of the spray painted Bowie head on wood.
Yeah.
And
Big one?
No, a small one.
Small one.
And I mean they're only $60, but she had said she'd seen her work at other conventions.
Actually, she said she bought
She bought-
some of your prints before, but then she came back to
Okay.
buy some of mine. But then she saw that Bowie, and she was like, I gotta have me that Bowie. But she still bought one of my prints,
Yeah.
too. So hey, I don't care. I get all the money anyway.
That's true.
And there's a side, like we've talked about the business and the balancing of art and business. You guys both had history in retail, okay?
Yes.
So you guys know how to present yourself,
Yeah.
talk to patrons, talk to ways of selling. Both of you can go fuck off. But like seriously, like I don't have basically any history on selling. I don't like to talk to anybody that I don't know. I don't want to be anywhere I don't want to be. I don't fucking care about you or anything. Go check out my website at hellomrlee.com. And the thing is with you
We've
guys,
seen you at conventions. We know.
I freaking go into like a roly-poly formation.
So
Roly-poly.
many times I actually just wanted to take over your booth.
You've asked.
I know. Really, just let me sell this shit for you, man.
And I just roll up and I die inside. And then I just put more vodka in a Gatorade bottle and walk around.
That way the police don't know.
See, that's the lesson to be learned out of this.
Yes. I see you guys,
Hiding
okay?
it from the folks.
So, like, when I see you guys, okay, I walk by, when I did conventions, with all of us were in conventions before in the past. I mean, I saw Epyon 5's arms flying left and right, talking.
It's like an auction.
He has his points to talk about. And Katrina is then, after, like, you have your point to talk about, boom, you kick in. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys have, I won't even say script, because it's very organic.
It's like a shorthand.
Yeah, and you guys know how to work off each other really well. And you guys have these deals, and you got this booth, and I really want to go into, like, the setup of it, and the psychology of selling.
Yes,
Because
I would love to get into that with you
man.
because I
Like
have a
Gary
lot
Glenn
of
Ross.
things to say about
Have
it.
you read books like on psychology of selling,
I
or is it just living
have
it?
studied psychology
Yeah,
a lot.
okay.
That's if I didn't get into art, I would have gotten into psychology.
Okay.
I'm very interested in psychology.
Yeah,
Ooh, we're getting deep, Brian.
yeah, it's good. It's good. Good
Yeah,
segue.
but I have to say that or being organic with people, when that's very important because people don't like it when they walk into a place and then someone is like coming at them with what sounds like a script.
That's me. You come to my booth. Hi.
Right.
I have artwork.
I have an app.
Yeah. Would you like to buy this painting
Right.
or this print?
You do okay. You're harder on yourself. You're
Yeah.
like the prints in here or X amount.
No.
If you have any
saw
questions,
me at the last fucking show, Brian.
I'm
okay?
at every show you're
And
at,
at the
man.
show, I was at I have like this little stool that's a foot tall. I love the stool. I'm not gonna go.
It's a great stool.
It's a great stool.
Solid stool.
I sit on that
Solid.
stool.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
It's a bum stool. Okay? And I sit on this bum stool, which I fucking love, okay? And when someone
Stoop kid over here.
Yeah. No, I swear to fucking God. I sit here, okay? And when someone comes in, guess what I do? I just fucking walk
Wait,
away.
is this the stool
You'll
here?
walk
No.
away.
Okay.
I just walk away. I just walk away. Like, I have to go pee. There's prints. Don't steal them. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with humans, man.
Yeah.
You guys do it so fucking well. How?
Okay. All right. Here's a few things. Okay. Now, when you have experience selling some crap that you don't care about, but if you don't sell it, you'll lose your job.
Yeah.
You learn a few things there.
So
right?
you've had experience.
Yes, I used to sell pool tables.
No shit.
I care a lot about pool tables.
You sold You sold pool tables.
I used to sell pool tables. Yes, when I was 20 years old and I first moved down to Champaign, I got a job selling pool tables. Now, mind you, I don't know shit about pool. I don't play pool. I don't like pool. I didn't know jack shit about pool tables or any of that. Selling
Insert
shit.
pool table ad.
I got hired to do this job because I think the guy thought I was cute. That guy was gross. Anyway, I learned all about pool tables, and I could tell you a lot about. I could damn install a pool table for you. I know how to level them. I know which ones are good, which ones are crap. You got to have the slate, maybe 2 pieces slate, 2 or 3. Shit. That's pretty good. So you don't want no plywood bullshit. So anyway,
she's right.
Would my studio be a good place to have a pool table?
Maybe a small one. You got to have enough room around.
Maybe bumper pool.
Bumper pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably get a good bumper pool table down here. Maybe in that other room there.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I had to do this or else myself and my child would starve. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, and
You have a daughter, really?
yes, I do.
You say that like
She's
she's not
sitting
been
over
sitting.
there.
She's not in the room.
Right there. She is now 20 years old. Anyway, so yeah, so I had to sell stuff that I really didn't care about, but
No interest.
not really. But I would have to find a way in to get the customer interested. So
Was this a commission job?
No, I
Okay.
did not get paid commission.
Okay.
So that was nice. It was
Yeah.
just a crappy, slightly above minimum wage
But
job.
if you didn't sell pool tables, you wouldn't have that job.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I had that job for a few years, and yeah, I would just try to strike up a natural sounding-ish conversation. So this job basically taught me to how to talk to people I don't know and not sound like a complete idiot. I mean, maybe somewhat of an idiot, but
Katrina,
not a complete
I'm all ears right now.
I am too.
Okay.
I'm actually not good at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you kind of have to be good at improvisation. You see someone, let's say they're wearing a shirt with I don't know, Bob Dylan on it or something. Oh yeah. Did you see that when Bob Dylan was up on that the awards show there, and he had a mustache? That was crazy. Something like that.
Yeah, it's a crazy
Yeah,
mustache.
just say something kind of unexpected,
You're
but not
breaking
rude.
the ice. it seems
Yeah,
like.
you break the ice. Exactly. Those are the words I was looking for. It's not that big a deal, I guess. Don't make it a huge, nervous, big whoop-de-doo. However,
This is interesting because this is why I'm still single. Is because I can't talk to people.
this does help.
I think
with,
this helps
with
in both
dating
fields.
as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
So
talk.
I see
You
you.
gotta sell yourself.
I see
Yeah.
you're
Sell
single.
yourself, Brian.
Fucking Don Draper and me over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draper's Papers.
So if you can get the hang of that sort of thing, and I recommend getting a retail job, just to learn that skill, and there you go. Because after that, once you start selling stuff that you actually believe in, like
Care
your
about.
own artwork,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to sell, and you come off even more genuine because you really do want somebody to have this.
You're not
and
bullshitting.
You're
This
not
is you.
bullshitting them at all. Exactly. You are genuine, and
Michael's over here like, I'm bullshitting everyone.
yeah.
I'm a bullshit artist.
People know.
Oh,
People
yeah.
know when you're full of shit. They can tell.
Yes,
you
they
know.
can. They can
may
smell it a
not-
mile away.
Yeah. So I mean, if you believe in what you are selling, and you really want someone to have your work, you are not only selling them your skills, but you are selling them like a piece of yourself, and you want to make them want to buy a little piece of you. So if they like you and they like your story, they like your struggle, your hashtag the struggle, then people want to have a piece of that, and that's why it's good to talk to people that approach your booth. That's why.
So I shouldn't walk away?
Right.
I shouldn't go into the porta potties and hide and throw
Right.
up?
If you go away and hide, they're just going to see what they see, and maybe they interpret it a certain way, and it's not the way that you interpreted it when you were making it, and you want them to understand what your work is about. And people like that. People like when you help them understand it.
On the nose.
Yeah. So that's very important. And I mean, a lot of people are intimidated by fine art. They look at it and they're like, I feel stupid, I'm not some hoity-toity artsy-fartsy person,
And I'm not either.
Right.
It goes both ways.
Right.
It seriously goes both ways. It's like, I'm scared to go into a white wall gallery because I feel like it is this high nose.
Right. You don't
There's a stigmatism.
Yeah.
Yes, your
And
peasant self.
then
How
there's
dare you?
And then there's the artist side where it's like, well, I'm scared to show my work to you.
Exactly.
And so to break that wall,
You
that
gotta
barrier.
smash that shit like the Kool-Aid Man.
That is awesome.
There's this whole, I think it's like a false pretentiousness that exists, and it's why my family won't come to any art shows that I do or any conventions. They're scared. They're like, I don't do this fancy schmancy crap. I'm from Gary, Indiana. But I'm like, nah, it's no big whoop. It's just hanging out, looking at some shit. I'll tell you what it means. It's okay. Yeah. You're not dumb. Yeah.
It's that Wayne White documentary that I had you watch where he was like, well, in rural areas, art was something you bought at like Walmart.
Wix furniture.
Yeah, it's shit you find just in stores. You don't, and then when you move, you can throw it away, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So there's a little stigmatism to it there too.
Means so much.
Yeah.
That's why I have such an appreciation for street art.
Yeah.
Is because I don't have to go into those facilities. I don't have to. Like, it's there. It's for me to see. I can walk by it anytime I want. There's no time, like check-in time. I don't have to fucking do an appointment and fucking email someone to see some work. I can just walk by.
It's got that.
That's a really nice thing. Like, if you ever go like to Logan Square in Chicago or whatever, there's that's all over the place, and I love that. Like,
I love that shit.
I've done that where you draw something on one of those free. Well, you steal it from the post office. Those stickers.
Yeah.
Slaps. And it slaps them all over the place. I've done that here and there. It's fun because it's like, this whole motherfucker is a goddamn gallery. And we're all up in, and we're all the artists, and you're all invited to this art show, and that's nice.
What was your past sales?
Oh, man. Yeah. It's
the king of bullshit?
No, yes.
With your crown on your head?
In a way, yes.
No,
actually,
no, you're not.
No, I ended up getting a job at a family-owned and operated mattress store.
So you're telling me both of you two sold the most impossible things?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you guys weren't at, like, Walmart? You guys weren't at, like, a bookstore or freaking...
They were very specific things.
You guys
very
had...
specific, like
one item.
Which is nice, because when someone walks in there, you don't have to, like, try and talk them into buying
They're there to buy a pool table.
They already know. And it's rectangular and large.
The difference is I was on commission. Like, I did have a base pay, but it was very little, so I had to try to sell as much as I possibly could. And I was specifically selling, like, regular old-fashioned spring mattresses and the very fancy Tempur-Pedics. And a lot of people that would come into these mattress stores, they did not want to talk to the salesman. And I didn't know anything about sales prior to this, so we'd have sales meetings, and basically they would do the Glengarry Glen Ross, so they would teach us how to sell stuff. So I actually learned.
Describe this to me.
The Glengarry.
The ABCs.
It's
every convention that you and I are at. Right at the beginning, we text each other ABC.
ABC. Always ABC.
So you taught me
ABC. Kiss, yeah.
Well, that's a whole other.
It is, but
thing.
it's related. But yeah, there's the ABC.
And not the Great American 1973 band.
I don't know if they're
Kiss.
great, but they're fun to watch. Paul Stanley's great.
Shut your fucking mouth.
He's
Simmons is kind of a
You want to end this podcast right now?
Are you threatening me?
Hey, you're derailing. You're derailing the
Yeah, no.
So ABC.
ABC, always be closing. I mean, I was
always.
A always, B C closing. Yep.
Always be closing.
Always be closing. Always be closing.
Always
It's fuck or walk, pal.
So when
You
someone,
see these brass balls?
so when you see someone, I gotta close this.
Yeah, my boss would call and it'd be like for updates all the time. Like, well, did you have any customers? Yes, I did. Did they look at something? Yes, they looked at this. Well, why didn't you sell? Did you sell it to them? No. Why did they not buy it?
God,
Why
I
didn't
hate
you
my
not?
life.
Why didn't you close the sale?
I would need so much lavender
Yeah.
to get through the
Yeah.
day.
It was
You
rough.
would need chamomile,
And like
lavender, all of it.
corn, chicken.
Green pepper.
Mystery Science reference, folks.
Track of the Moon.
Drag the Moon Beast. Watch it. Great.
That's what I love about you two is that you guys make art that you love too.
Yeah.
We do.
And that's funny because
It's
like
real.
every time we've had a conversation, there's references. You guys know what you're talking about. You're not making Doctor Who and be like, "Oh my God, what Doctor is that?" And you just be like, "I don't
Yeah.
fucking know."
That's some poser shit.
Oh,
Have you done that in the past though? Made shit that you like didn't really care that much about?
No,
I don't
because
do
the
that.
amount of time that goes into making artwork,
Love it.
you gotta love it.
And that's why they're on this fucking podcast. No posing ass fuckers.
I don't know. Back
Yeah.
early, I made some Walking Dead pieces, which like I watched the show then.
Sure.
I've stopped watching it now, so I don't even sell those prints anymore
Yeah.
because I can't sell them.
Right.
I don't care.
You don't enjoy it.
I don't care. Yeah, it's hard to do.
I was gonna say something else about sales, and I can't remember.
Kiss.
what-
Kiss.
Kiss. Oh,
Let's get
Kiss.
to that kiss.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh shit! I thought that was Detroit Rock City.
I'm more of a
seriously,
strutter man
You
myself.
don't. You don't want to get too complicated with somebody. You don't want to give them too much info because then you scare them off, basically.
That was the first thing you taught me.
Yeah.
I remember because you're like, I'm gonna watch you one time. This was, I think, at Indiana Comic Con, and someone came up to my booth. I can fucking remember this clear as day. And I am unloading the fucking feelings and the the meanings behind every imagery in one of my pieces. And my stuff isn't very commercial-esque. So I was describing it to him, and I just remember this lady's face went from like, I like that there's Captain America on it, but now I realize you have a lot of problems.
Yeah. She ran away.
And you're just like, you don't have to go that hard.
Yeah.
And you said Kiss, dude, and I'm like, I love that band. All the albums. And you're just like, no, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And it's funny because ever since then, I take a Sharpie, and I'm not lying. I take a Sharpie and I write Kiss on my finger. Because when I start going nuts, if I do, because either I'm running away in a porta potty,
Yeah.
or I go crazy because someone's like, oh my God, I can understand that, you know, there's some kind of unbalancing, and then I just go off on them. And then I look at that finger, I'd be like, well, this is how much it costs. Like, I stop myself because it does help. You want to get to the point, you want to close it, you got to move on. Because you know what? You got another patron ready to come in.
Mm-hmm. Also, you want to leave a little room for the potential customer to assign their own meaning to what they see, too.
Absolutely.
That's important, too. So,
Yes.
yeah.
You have to listen. You have to listen to them
It's
too.
a delicate balance.
Brian, I'm taking so many notes right now. I got a notepad right here.
You're good. You're good. Do you find it hard for that little area of interpretation though when it's like pop culture stuff? Because I feel like I don't have that like you, Jake. You've got that where there's stuff to interpret. There's a story.
Yeah. It's a little bit less room, I think.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with pop culture.
There's mostly just you're pulling on nostalgia strings.
Yeah.
And,
It's like, oh, you have a Handmaid's Tale.
well, I
piece.
guess your
That's-
Big Lebowski piece that's got
Yes.
like a lot of story hidden literally into the tapestry.
Literally woven into the tapestry.
Yeah.
Yes, the rug, the Big Lebowski piece. It is the dude, and he is posing with a White Russian in his hand in front
Cool
of
Caucasian man.
the rug, which is
Yeah.
what he sought. Throughout
It's his
the
Maltese
film.
Falcon.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
His MacGuffin, if you will.
when I showed your work at the Attic the first time, you had a lot of conceptual pieces. You had
I did, yes.
portraits with horns, and then also when we did your guys' duelist show,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a turquoise theme, and you went outside. You actually did like 3D installation little boxes. I can recall.
Yeah, I
Which
had little
were
shadow boxes and stuff.
amazing
Well,
by
thank
that.
you. They were, it was sort of like, the idea was pinup girls. And I had images of, pinup girls from back in the day, like
Mhm.
Betty Page, yada yada. But also they had butterfly wings, moth wings, or whatever, and they were presented in shadow boxes like butterfly and moth specimens that you would see at, I don't know, a museum or whatever. Wherever you go to see dead butterflies collected.
Entomology?
Yeah, one of those. So, yeah, the idea was it was a statement about objectifying women and
sexuality on
yeah,
display.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And all of the pinup girls had glowing eyes, and yeah, it was kind of spooky. And
I loved it.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
they're
you.
super cool.
So it was still pop culture-y, but it kind of went a little more beyond what I normally do for the convention.
I mean,
stuff.
your concept was a little bit different, you know? You even used some mixed media within it. And then the way you presented it, it wasn't just on usual charcoal paper, colored paper.
Right.
It was... I can recall a small box, and we sold it. I remember this. And it was like a 6x7 or 8 little shadow box, I believe. And I thought that was fantastic.
It was Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
The little Raquel Welch.
And you sold the Betty Page.
I did sell the large Betty Page drawing, and then I did do one. My favorite piece was one that ended up getting bought by a good friend of mine named Laura, who lives in New Jersey. This one was just a close-up of Hedy Lamar's face.
I remember
And
this. Sorry.
instead of her having butterfly wings, she had on a lace butterfly mask.
Yeah.
And that one had a lot of meaning for me because I painted it. Well, I painted acrylic paint over an old bar mirror that belonged to my ex-husband, and it was an Ice House beer bar mirror, and I hated that fucking thing so much, and I just wanted him to get rid of it, and he never would, and it was like something we always fought about. So yeah, I found that thing in the house, and then I was like, I'm gonna do something with this. So I painted over it, and then I drew over it with charcoal, and it took on a different meaning.
But
And when people know the meaning, it entices
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So, I had a story.
do you have that interpreted kind of meaning stuff, or is it just I just really like Rocky Horror?
I don't really have...
I fucking love Godzilla so much.
I don't have too much meaning. I mean, there's meaning for me personally.
You love
Sure.
I love it, yeah. It's all the stuff I grew up with, Star Wars, He-Man. I mean, all that, which is great. So I don't really have personal meaning with it other than just personal love for it. And, I mean, that's fine, too, I mean, art sometimes doesn't have to have a deep meaning. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the piece, depends on the person, depends on the buyer. I think when it comes to Katrina's work, like that Hedy Lamarr piece, when people find out that, they love it, but then they love it even more because it takes it to
Take my cash.
Home
Take my
level.
money away right now.
Whenever I first saw your work, Epyon 5, I attributed some meaning to it. I thought it was saying something about, because the way you present these pop culture, they're superheroes and whatnot. They're presented as saints.
Sure,
Yes.
there's like a basic meaning.
There's a Renaissance
to,
framing to it.
They're presented, it's heroes, saints, people to look up to, heroes, when perhaps, you and I are from the same area, Northwest Indiana, kind of a rough area. And
bleak.
there's a lack of people to look up to, So when I saw your work, I was like, okay, so you're taking like Boba Fett, and you're like, and that spoke to me, and it was like, okay, yeah. So we don't have any real people in our lives that we can look up to. So these people from pop culture that we grew up with, they guided us.
I mean, I think that's very common for many people who are at these conventions. It's like, we find a passion towards something, and we also start to relate to that character, and we look up to them in some kind of way. I mean, I have mine, you have yours. I think the way you portray it as a saint in this Renaissance frame, I mean,
and being genuine about it, and when talking about it, being truthful. Like we're talking about the sales. I'm not selling a $10,000 Tempur-Pedic that I don't give a shit about.
Right.
So it comes across genuine, my love for these things, and people can see that, and they know that, and they sense it, and that helps them to buy it. Actually, there was one thing I wanted to add about the whole sales spiel, which I think is kind of funny because I've noticed this. we were talking about when you talk to people to sell stuff, you know, you got to talk to them. You got to break
You don't
the
hide
ice.
underneath your table.
No, you don't hide
Don't
underneath your
just
table.
go away.
But here's
Eyes and smiles, my man.
Oh, fuck your eyes and smiles, you asswipe.
ice and smiles. That's a good one.
I tell them this
yeah.
every show. I go,
You
Eyes
got to
and
talk
smiles.
to people.
Yeah.
But
I look at the gravel and cry.
and then I get in your face and I say eyes and smiles every time.
No. When you talk to people, it's funny because like Katrina has like certain lines that she'll say to people, and the other thing is like you want them to trust you. So there's like a friendly camaraderie that you build up. So it's kind of funny. So she has lines that she uses, and I have lines that I use. And when we say this to people, they'll laugh, and then that helps to secure a sale.
Making people laugh
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah. So like she does this one line, like we people will come to the booth and they'll look at something and then they'll be like, oh, that's nice. You know, I'll be back. And as they walk away, I forget what you say. You're
All right,
like,
here's what I do. Here's what I do. I'm like, all right, okay, you know, go take it for a walk around, but I'll be waiting for you.
And then what do you do?
And that works for her, actually,
Yeah.
because people laugh at that. And
I'm like,
and
all right, maybe I'll come back.
All right.
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, all right.
I like that line. That's funny. I'll try
What's
that.
this guy do
I'll
around
try that.
like?
Oh, you've
at
used
the-
that.
No, I've tried that, and this is the problem. It's not funny when I say it.
No, I don't want you to say it.
Because like I tried that
I'll be
once.
watching you.
Yeah, I did that. I was like, you coming back? Because if you
I
don't,
gotta go.
I will be watching you. And it's like that's the lost.
I can already hear around the convention like, you know that Epyon 5, he's a creeper.
So I can't say the things that she says because I like the way I deliver it. I just come off like a fucking psycho.
Know your weaknesses.
Yeah. So my lines are a bit different. I have these joking lines that I always say, and I've said them hundreds of times. And one of them is like I show people my work and explain it briefly, and then I show them her work, explain it briefly. And then I jokingly say, she does the fine art, and then I'm in the basement with a respirator, a knife, and a can of spray paint. And then people laugh at
Did
that.
Casey Kasem just come out?
Yeah.
Casey Kasem. I don't actually say the Casey Kasem
Dude,
voice.
you should.
No, I don't.
Well, sometimes you do put on
you?
an accent just for fun.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it. I've seen you do a good George Harrison.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. George Harrison. Paul McCartney.
See, if you did that,
Cocaine.
if you did that, it'd be like, I'd be waiting,
Yeah.
Yes.
George,
Try it. Try
George
it
Harrison.
with
That's
with
tough,
George
man.
Harrison.
No, I gotta get into.
All right, yeah, it's cool. Maybe I'll come back.
Ravi Shankar.
I do the thing similar to that where they'll be like, I'll be back, and I'll be like, I'll be here because I've got nowhere else to go.
Laughter works.
I
If you
have
can
no
get them to
friends.
laugh, that's half of it, man.
Alright, well, sorry to put a cap in it there, but this is the first part of a two-parter with Epyon and Katrina, so stick around for the next episode where we will finish that conversation. For any questions and inquiries, please check aobpodcast.wordpress.com. And if you like the show and want to ask us a question or two, please do that at aobpodcast@gmail.com. That's aobpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.